There are over 12 million domestic yaks in the world, while the wild yak population is thought to number much less, 10,000 to 15,000. Unfortunately, wild yaks are becoming rarer in their Himalayan home range because of hunting and hybridization with domestic yak. This hardy animal can live at up to 18,000 feet, 5,400 meters, and has a dense, matted undercoat which keeps it warm. Yaks do not like warm places, but can easily tolerate temperatures of -40 degrees Celsius. Yak are quite stocky animals with high, humped shoulders and a broad head. Both males and females have horns, which grow out of the sides of the head and curve upwards halfway along their length. For protection against the extreme cold of Tibet, yaks have a dense undercoat of soft, closely matted fur, covered by dark brown, long and shaggy hair that almost reaches the ground. The legs are relatively short and have broad hooves that are slightly splayed to aid walking through thick snow. Domestic yak are smaller than wild yak. The yak is one of the most important domestic animals in Tibet, where it provides transport, meat, milk, fiber for spinning. Even its dried dung is used as fuel. In spite of their shaggy, awkward appearance, yaks are excellent, sure-footed climbers. Yak feed mainly in the morning and evening, grazing on grasses, herbs and lichens, and eating ice and snow as a source of water. However, due to the lack of vegetation where they live, wild yaks have to travel far in order to eat enough. In July, they move to lower altitudes, and then, as the temperature rises in August, they head back up to the plateaus. Domestic yaks cannot moo, only grunt, hence their Latin name Bos grunniens, which means grunting ox. Wild yaks tend to gather together. Females reach sexual maturity at 3 to 4 years, although full size is not reached until 6 to 8 years. Mating takes place in September, and single calves are born from April to June, after a gestation of 260 days. The young are weaned before they are 1 year old, but females will not give birth again for another year. Wild yaks are hunted commercially for their meat, but also suffer from habitat loss, crossbreeding with domestic yaks, and disease. In China, the wild yak population has been protected, and the large Changtang Reserve provides real protection for the remaining wild yak. Yaks have a significant role in the society of the Himalayas and its surrounding areas. They not only provide a vital component of people's means of subsistence, but also allow people to live the area first. And be sure to sign up for the channel so you don't miss the future. Everyday great videos are coming, so press the bell and let's keep going. Dependent on the breed of yaks, attain a height of about 122 centimeters on average. Horns of male yaks are approximately 19 to compared to males. 39-inch females have horns that are 27 to 64 centimeters shorter. Yaks can grow to weigh up to 585 kilos in the wild, but domesticated ones can reach even greater sizes. Specimens up to 1,000 kilograms in weight. In Asia, yaks inhabit a considerable amount of land. The Tibetan Plateau, which is thought to be 2.5 million square kilometers in size, is where the majority of yaks are found. Yaks are therefore abundant not only in Tibet, but also in the nearby Chinese regions. Of yaks are present in Gansu, Qinghai, Sichuan, Yunnan, and the plateau that reaches into India. Bhutan is also situated in the state of Himachal Pradesh and the Kashmir region. Yaks are widely distributed throughout the surrounding country because they are raised on the Tibetan Plateau. The summit yaks are found in nearby nations like Mongolia, Myanmar, and much further away. The name of the yak has a unique history in the northern Siberian region of Russia. Originates from Tibetan and is written Jia Yag in English, although only Tibetans use it. Utilize it for the species males, for the species females, which is written in English. However, due of the gender distinctions, yak is still used for both male and female. Concerning the use of the general names bull and cow, yaks have a unique aspect. The most recognizable aspect of a yak is its thick, long fur that hangs over its head. The color of the abdomen varies between species, with wild yaks being a consistent shade of black or dark brown. Domesticated yaks, however, come in a variety of colors, including brown and gray. White and bald roan paille yak also has a long tail that is often covered in rusty brown or cream spots. A horse-like tail as opposed to a tufted tail. The majority of cattle have tails additionally produce their own unique noises. These creatures lack the recognizable moving emissions or the mooing of cattle, but they may also snarl or screech in order to communicate. Its scientific name, Bos grunniens, which literally translates to grunting ox, was really inspired by this. Bos mutis, a wild yak with a scientific name that shares a similar genesis but denotes a sense early on, scientists have misunderstood that it refers to a dumb ox. Yaks in the wild are known to generate their own sounds, contrary to what experts had thought. Similar to their tamed cousins, sounds, yaks have special evolutionary adaptations of their own. Compared to other bovine species, they have larger hearts and lungs because they have evolved to compare to other animals. Yaks thrive in the oxygen-poor air of their high-altitude homeland. Their blood still included fetal hemoglobin after birth, which also prompted an adjustment to its homeland. As compared to other animals, fetal hemoglobin is superior in carrying oxygen. Yaks have thick layers as well. Had no sweat glands to assist them tolerate the cold in their homeland, and a lack of fat under their skin. Despite the fact that they are highly adapted to their ecosystem because to these modifications, when they are away, they immediately discover that it is harder for them to procreate since the lowland air has more rich oxygen. Yaks overheat when temperatures are higher than the typical 15 degrees Celsius to which they are used. Mate once a year, typically between the months of July and September in the summer. During the mating season, yak bulls compete for supremacy, with winners receiving the right to mate. Yak cattle usually, these yak cows give birth to a single calf after carrying their pregnancies for up to 9 months. Only 10 minutes of birth, a calf who relies solely on its mother's milk for a full year. There are yak-specific sports. Once they start grazing on grass, they are considered adults. In both Tibet and Mongolia, yak racing is still a well-liked and traditional form of entertainment. More recently, the Mongols modified the game of polo to be played using yaks rather than horses. Skiers are carried up and down mountains by yaks as part of a growing fad in India for the game. Their blood is known to offer therapeutic properties down hills. This is a product of Nepal, where specific communities undertake yearly celebrations where they slash a yak's throat before assembling, and they believe that drinking the blood from the wound can treat body aches, gastritis, and even jaundice. After the feast's attendees have all consumed alcohol, the yak's wound is treated. There are numerous applications for yak milk. Tibetan, Mongolian, and Nepalese people use their milk to manufacture a variety of cheese. Additionally, it is used by Tibetans to make butter, which they utilize in cooking and as a foundation for butter tea. Additionally, they use the butter as material for butter sculptures and as fuel for lamps. Religious objectives for one thing, male hybrids are poor performers in crossbred yaks. Always infertile at birth despite the fact that females typically only produce little amounts of milk, animals are also due to their brief lifespans and negative personalities, they are only marginally effective. Primarily as a source of meat and having low overall economic value. See you in the upcoming video.
Yeah, yeah.